I would like to welcome Sophia from femmebought, Edith from WERKTO, Nancy from Women's Chamber of Commerce, and Donna from the VOLUTION. Come on up, please. Yes, warm welcome for them. Let's hear it for them. Welcome. So maybe we can start off from a little bit of a review of yourself, give a little bit of a background, I guess the elevator pitch to help us all out. And Nancy, why don't you start and we'll make our way across, please.
Sure. My name is Nancy Wilson, and I'm the founder and self-proclaimed CEO of the Canadian Women's Chamber of Commerce. CanWCC, as it's called, is it's a national nonprofit that advocates for women-identified founders, business owners, and entrepreneurs in Canada. We are the first and only women's chamber of commerce in Canada, and we launched in January of 2018, which is 100 years after women got the vote in Canada. So we're a little bit late in arriving, but we are making some bold strides. So we don't sell empowerment. We can't do that. It's not really for sale, to be honest. But we are working hard to make it happen. And our focus is building a community of members. We ask them what they want and need to be successful in business. Then we listen to them, and we take what they tell us, translate it into an advocacy agenda, and take that agenda directly to policymakers and demand that policy is changed to forward gender equality for business in Canada.
Brilliant. Thank you. Edith.
Hi, my name is Edith Levato, and I am the founder of a women's entrepreneur and investor community that started out of a very humble beginning, which is, as myself as a first-time founder, I didn't find a women's community that really reflected the kind of person that I wanted to be, and also the kind of entrepreneurs I wanted to be around, and so I created one. So we're over 1,000 members strong, and our focus is actually becoming like the Reddit of the women's entrepreneur world, which means you can ask the most difficult questions, you can offer the most amazing help, and you can also say a bit of nonsense if you feel so compelled. And so the important thing about that, though, is that we're truly transparent, uncensored, and unfiltered, and you can actually get the real beat of what's happening to the women's entrepreneurship scene here in Toronto for women.
Awesome. Sophia.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm the founder of femmebought, and I started femmebought. I'm going to tell you why I started femmebought and then tell you what it is. I was looking to put my money in women-owned businesses. So whether that was spending my money getting an investment professional who is a woman, a banker, hair salon, you name it. And I went out on this mission to walk the walk instead of just talk the talk. And I couldn't really find a place that covered all geographies that I wanted to go to, all industries, all business types and sizes. I could find tech, or maybe I had to be a member. And so I started to develop my own directory, and people started to use it, which was shocking to me because I really did it for myself and was trying to actually empower and inspire people, which is true. You can't force empowerment on people. You just have to lead by example. So I walked the walk. I created an online platform and community for women entrepreneurs. And essentially, if you get down to the bare bones of what we do, we help women get funding education, introduce them to investors where we can, introduce them to people who could introduce them to investors. I'm looking at some of our wonderful investors in the room, and introduce them to clients. And we do that on social media, we do that in person, and we do it through email. And I agree, walk into the room instead of doing it by email. It's a lot more effective. Thanks.
Perfect. That's good. I like that comment on the email side. That's really going after. Donna, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Doina Oncel and I am the founder and CEO of a nonprofit organization called VOLUTION. VOLUTION, the basic mandate is for us is inspire girls to pursue STEM careers. I design programs for girls that come from the underserved areas of GTA, and I introduce them to technology and business programs. My job was created because I'm actually a former social worker by trade, but having worked with a lot of underserved youth in Toronto, I realized that there aren't a lot of opportunities, and also learning about the injustice of not enough women in STEM, I thought, what's the best way to do this is to bring people that normally don't have the access and the opportunities to get into these fields. So I created the organization that now we're going to celebrate 7 years. And one particular program that I'm very proud of is going to be in its third year this year, 2020, and it's called STEMing Up, which Jeffrey was part of. We introduce young women in GTA, their high school, to a 3 to 4 business challenges. They get to work in groups and they get to solve a business challenge. They get to learn about marketing, business planning, UX design, how to pitch the idea to an audience, and eventually learn to pitch themselves, while they learn about coding, which is JavaScript and Python. So we work with businesses across Ontario, really, and we get, I guess what will make us unique will be that all the learning is done by business professionals. So it wouldn't be me teaching something I don't know. That would be someone that is in actual industry to teach the girls what they know. And that's our way to inspire these young women to pursue STEM careers, but also learn about business along the way. So that's what we do.
Fantastic. Thank you. And I will say that I really did enjoy getting to speak with the group and work with them. So working with, I believe everybody was the age of, was it 14 to 19, I think was the age?
14 to 17.
Yeah, and it was fantastic. I think what all of you are doing is awesome, and I really did appreciate being able to learn both sides, which is what they're going through, what they want to learn, and how you can help energize and get them interested in entrepreneurship. So one thing that I think that we've all touched on indirectly is community. And it seems that all of you have taken something that didn't exist and you built a community before you actually built the environment that you were going to build your startup or your company from. So maybe Edith, because I've known you for a while and you've done a lot of great things in the space. You're well known for working in different verticals, learning a lot of things, and then boom, you come out with this great platform that enables a lot of people, but you did it through community. Maybe you can talk a little bit about why you did it that way instead of just starting something up and seeing what was going to happen.
Sure. So I was running events for Startup Toronto, and one of the big responsibilities I had there was to actually create an amazing, diverse community like you see here coming to our events. And there was a huge absence of gender diversity there. And so the founder of Startup Toronto, Craig Major, he said, I would really love to work with you on bringing more women out to these events, seeing as you're a woman founder yourself. And I said, sure, I'll do that, but only on the premise that I get to bring out people to speak that don't normally get to speak, so not the traditional people that you see being showcased. And we get to cover topics that are uncomfortable and things that people really want to talk about but are not politically correct sometimes, which means you're not going to get sponsorship dollars for what we're doing. And he agreed to do that. And so after running those for about a year, people kept coming up to me saying, we love what you're doing, but we don't really have like a community for us to talk about these things beyond the times that we're together. And so when I was at Mars, 500 people came out to support women entrepreneurship. And at this event where they were showcasing Oprah's film Dreamgirl, everybody went around making commitments about what really they got out of seeing that movie. And at the very end of it, literally the very last person, after everyone had spoken about what this meant to them, she said, this is all great, but none of it will matter if we don't have a forum for us to continue this conversation, whether it's a LinkedIn group, a Slack group, a Facebook group. It needs to be somewhere where we can talk back and forth. And so that's how WERKTO was born. It actually was born out of someone, standing up after hearing many, hundreds of people showing how much they care about women entrepreneurship, and then actually seeing that put into a practice. And so I put my hand up saying, well, I'll put a page up, but if nobody comes, then I'm off the hook. And so that's how WERKTO was born.
So you're on the hook now, so that's perfect. Sophia, we've chatted. We've been part of your event as well, and it's fantastic. You're spreading like wildfire. You're really connecting to a lot of entrepreneurs and investors and a lot of great speakers. Maybe talk a bit, too, about how this community is really changing the way people are investing or looking at women founders.
Thanks. That's an interesting question as to whether it's changing the way people are looking at women founders. I think that women founders are changing the way that they talk to investors and the way that they talk to one another and collaborate. You may see I'm wearing a t-shirt, Support Women Owned. It's Help a Sister Up. We're helping each other up. That's what's changing, I think. And the way we're doing it is through education of what the right methodology is in terms of having conversations. And I think earlier when the prior panel was talking about getting a lot of no's and asking for the next, going for the next ask, I get a lot of no's. Almost every day I get no's. But almost every day I get yeses too. And a lot of those yeses come from people that I got no's from 10 times before that. And what helps, and it's so inspiring, right? And hearing us at events and panel presentations like this one, where we talk about the no's, where we talk about the journey and how hard it is, I think that's what's changing. And you bringing us up here today to talk to everybody about what we're creating is building that community that is in our world. We have almost 10,000 people supporting us. So it's been quite a journey in a year and a half.
It's amazing. And Doina, how have your community changed inside of the school system and inside of the youth programs? How have they started to look at entrepreneurship? And my example, when I first started talking, everybody was like, well, I don't know if I want to get in. It sounds like hard work. And then at the end of the day, they were like, I'm really thinking about getting to be an entrepreneur. This sounds like a pretty cool job. So how have you really shifted that change? Because I do think it is very impactful. So maybe give a little bit of detail on that.
I don't know how much has changed in terms of entrepreneurship, but I see a lot of young women are thinking about the idea of pursuing it, about starting a business. I think because of the age, 13 to 17, they feel they'd probably be too young, but they really enjoy learning more about it. They are pursuing an education, to learn more about business and technology, for example, at Ryerson University, which is great to see. They're pursuing, they get summer jobs, so they actually learn more about, because I think it's very important for a young person, instead of getting into an entrepreneurship journey so early. I know there's a lot to learn, but also, getting a job, a summer job where you get to learn more about the jobs and then what can be done, I think is probably better. So I see a lot of young women getting summer jobs. I see a lot of young women pursuing education in business, technology, computer science, which is great to see. I like the idea where they get to see, to have people like yourself come in and teach them about the business, because I think what my program does, it instills the entrepreneurship spirit. So sometimes you don't necessarily have to have your own business to be an entrepreneur, but if you have the entrepreneurship spirit, you put that to practice at a job that you're at. So I think you actually, you are, what is the word I'm looking for? You are doing your job much better if you have the entrepreneurship spirit versus something that you just learn in school, like cookie cutter thing, and also I think what the program allows the girls to see, that they can try things, they can test ideas. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to be, build that confidence. And then one particular aspect of the program, I know it's okay to have the skills. A lot of people have a lot of skills and they have a lot of, they know what they have a lot of knowledge. But if you don't know how to pitch yourself and how to sell yourself, even if it comes to a job interview, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but what you do with it, it's very important. So that's why I really insist into, the girls learning how to pitch their idea, pitch themselves, because that's what's going to get you somewhere, whether it's an entrepreneurship, like your own business, or it could be a job that you never know that could lead you. Because I think it really builds a lot of confidence, and that's what a lot of girls don't have. So
you're building a lot of skills that maybe they're not aware of that they have, and just trying to figure out how to hone in on them and get them to have a voice and get them to recognize that they got to challenge things, they got to question things a little bit differently, which is amazing. So I think when you start to look at all of this, what the three of you have been doing is you're building up a community, getting people interested, getting them to think differently, and then Nancy becomes the umbrella. She's the voice to make change. You're making the change, but she's getting in front of the government, she's getting in front of the political side and saying, hey, we need to make crossroads. So maybe Nancy can give us a little bit more of a broad stroke view of how that process works and how you're seeing the change in the community based on what you're getting feedback from all the other groups that are supporting females.
Right. So I would agree with my friends here. I know all of them. I work with them, and so from the public perception, I think that it seems like there's a lot going on. And possibly even some progress, like some good, juicy progress going on with women's entrepreneurship, because it's everywhere, right? So many headlines, so many news stories, everybody's talking about it. And there's a lot of interest in it. I mean, we have this women's entrepreneurship strategy underway. We have funding allocated. All these different banks are all over it. But this has happened before. Like the 90s were supposed to be like the decade for women. There were, Time magazine cover articles saying like, we've done it, ladies, like it's our time. So, I mean, progress is not linear. And when you actually look at the statistics and some of the research, we're not really making significant progress on major metrics of gender equality. And we're not making a dent on some significant preconditions for women to achieve significant success and in the marketplace and in the economy. So that is what concerns me. That's why I am a super bummer to stand next to at parties, right? But that's also my job. And so it's probably good that I know that. And we can do stuff about it, right? And so on the private side of things, I tell the truth. I hold people's feet to the fire, like I did last night on the phone with you.
Perfect.
And I say to people, this was a great party we had last night. I saw a lot of fun balloons, and it was all about women. But what are you guys actually doing about it? Really? And in Toronto in particular, we are saturated with events, and people love to do things for diversity and for women. And it's all about, being inclusive. But there is a lot of what I call impotent spectacle going on. And my question is, how does this actually impact individual business owners who are the members that I represent? And there's not a lot of real impact there. And so we have to look at changing things at the systemic level, not just putting on some fancy parties to raise awareness of what? Gender equality? I mean, I think everybody can agree that women are human beings that should be treated equally. It's actually in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, has been since 1982. So I mean, sorted, right? Let's make it happen. So we have an advocacy agenda. It's published on our website. And it covers 4 main issues that were voted on by our membership, including access to capital, which is the #1 issue that our members talk about. And having an undercapitalized company is one of the major reasons that businesses fail. So we need that. And there's a lot of issues that access or lack of access to capital impact. So having something like childcare, subsidized childcare, means women can work more hours on their business. They can spend more hours in front of investors. All of these things fit together. You can't compartmentalize gender equality issues for business owners, but not for this group. It doesn't work that way. So I'm a big talker. I'm going to cut it there, and we can go on to the next question.
Well, that's very well said. Thank you. And it kind of carries over from the last panel as well, is that there is a gap on that resourcing side financially in startup world for females and for the rest of Canadians. But how do we fix that? So you brought up a good point that there's a lot of discussions that have to happen and actions that aren't happening. So my question would be, what are the actions that people in this room can take to support the 4 of you and what you're doing? So what things do you think, Edith, that really could help you in your initiative and growing what you're doing to put a bigger voice and to make a dent, a big dent in the next 2 to 3 years to change the way things are happening?
Well, I'd like to give before I ask, if that's okay. So
Sure.
what I really want to share actually is that there is an accumulating list of venture capitalists and funding bodies that is being built online. And I can share if people connect to me personally, because I'm not sure if I'm allowed to publicly announce it, that actually shows diversity lens as well as specifically women-friendly VCs and investors. So that resource is building and it is shareable, and I'm happy to do so. The companies that I can share, because I personally endorse them and because I know them myself, that are very friendly to both, to all sorts of diversity lenses, would be Portfolio VC. They take pitches globally, so they are an all-woman investing firm. They have incredible tranches of funding that they put out, and they're taking pitches all the time. Backstage Capital, which is based out of Los Angeles, is also full diversity lens investing. Marigold Capital, based here in Toronto, is full diversity lensing as well as ethical investing. And Dreammaker VC, which is a very new up-and-coming fund, is also full diversity lens investing, and Peak Ventures, which is based out west. So this is a mix of Canadian as well as Canadian accepting VCs that are diversity inclusive. They're very open about so, and it's really important to share that. So for people, if you look them up and you're interested in what they're doing, sharing what they do with others and bringing more traction to those kind of companies so that they get stronger in terms of what they're doing is really helpful to the inclusion and diversity cause. In terms of what I would like to see, is that Canadians are notorious for being very soft-spoken and polite about change and about causes. And one of the things I learned when I was running Startup Toronto, it was actually the last women's event that I ran. We put up a panel of really amazing people, and an incredible community came out to see it. And someone put up their board of directors on there, and a very prominent woman in the startup scene stood up and she said, "I would love to put support behind what you're doing, but you have one woman, and that's you on the board. And I can't, in good faith, actually promote what you're doing when you do not have a diverse board." And you could feel like the tension in the room rose. Like it was like one of those unspoken things that, so as long as somebody's trying to do something good, they're not open to critique. And so one of the things that I'm learning to appreciate is that if you're not offending someone, you're probably not changing anything. And so for people to have more courage to actually be very bold and actually point out things that need changing, as long as you're using intelligent discourse and respectfully.
Perfect, thank you. Sophia, how about yourself?
Okay, so what I would ask, or the call to action, okay, got it. And so I think the call to action is to recognize allies, because there are a lot of supporters out there, and let's get them involved in the conversation and not hidden away. So a big portion of what we do at femmebought is getting men involved, because we get a little nervous when it's only women in the room. And a big call to action that I have for anyone hosting events is please allow us to bring our significant others or our team members who are men to these events to show their support. It's really important to show that we are getting the support from the people that we sometimes say are marginalizing women. So that's my biggest call to action, my number one. And then my other one is to the women in the room who have businesses, and that is get involved and be a role model and a leader for other women businesses. What I have noticed for femmebought in particular, we have 600 women businesses globally on our directory. We could have thousands more. It's just a matter of time. And I get a lot of women who have very established businesses say to me, well, I don't need your marketing help. I go, you know what? You don't need my marketing help, but there are a lot of women who do, and by adding you, you give credibility to us, and every single one of those women that's on our platform, and all of the women who are supporting us. So we need you more than maybe you need us, and please give us that benefit. Let's not be of the generation where it's like, well, good luck to you. If you make it, you make it. It's about helping a sister up. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Donna.
Ooh, for me, I'm gonna continue with what she said. I'd like to see more role models, but not only women, also men too, because we do have that issue. We have actually events where only women show up, and we'd like to see more men support, what we do. I would like to see more women be role models and mentors to young women. But also, exactly echoing what Sophia was saying is when you get to the top, don't forget to look down and support more women to get to where you are, because it is lonely at the top, so why be by yourself, right? But really with me, with what I do at Revolution, if I will do it, I'm not going to do it for me, but I'm going to ask for my girls, is that, get involved with programs like what we do, so that the girls can see more women like you that are doing it, and even more men like you that are doing it, so that they can be inspired, because this is what I want them to be. I want them to be inspired, so at some point there will be more women get into businesses, be in the workforce, become leaders of our society today and tomorrow, and get to learn from you how they can support each other as well. That's what I like to see.
Perfect. Yes, thank you. And Nancy, to help us wrap this up, please share what you feel that the room and everybody can help to make this work faster and better.
I think that's a tricky one, and we don't have all night to talk. So if you are a business owner, consider expanding your supply chain. Take a look at diverse supply chain policies, working with women-owned and minority-owned suppliers. There's a huge benefit to you as a purchasing corporation to implementing that supply chain diversity policy, and it means that up-and-coming minority-owned businesses get into the larger supply chain. If you're an employer, please, pay your employees a living wage and pay them equally. The wage gap is completely unacceptable, in my opinion, and get involved. You can find us at canwcc.ca. We are definitely involved in hearing feedback and expanding the discussion across all genders. We represent women identified and non-binary business owners and founders, but we're trying to change policy and cultural gender norms that affects an entire society. So of course, input and feedback across all genders is critical to make that happen. So reach out to us, find us online. You can talk to me later. I'll be kind of milling around. And I love this is so lame, but I'm a Toronto girl, born and raised. I love this city, but on strictly on the tech side, please don't let us become Silicon Valley North. Like, there is such a great opportunity here for us to look at that case study, learn from it, and have a tech scene here that is so much better than that. And we can totally do it.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And you're bang on with that. There's a great article that was written on that same kind of component that said, let's not be that, let's be something better and learn from it. So thank you very much. You guys are fantastic. A lot of great knowledge that we shared. We will dive into the diversity group and the other panels, but we're going to jump into the pitches. But I wanted to thank you guys very much for all of your insights. We could talk all night. I would love to talk all night, but we do kind of have to keep moving. So I appreciate that. And thank you again. Big hand, please.